Hey, what's up everybody? Ben here from blogwithben.com, and today we're diving into WP Rocket, a powerful tool that can supercharge your website's performance. WP Rocket is one of the most popular caching plugins for WordPress, and I've personally been using the plugin on my site, blogwithben.com, since 2016. And as you'll see in this video, WP Rocket is the easiest and most powerful solution to boost your website's loading time, improve your PageSpeed Insights performance score, and optimize your core web vitals in just a few clicks. No matter your technical knowledge, the plugin saves you a ton of time and effort while solving performance issues and speeding up your WordPress website. And in this video, I'll walk you through the process of implementing the plugin on your WordPress site so that you could go from zero to hero and boost your website performance without having to go through a ton of technical steps or know-how in order to optimize your site. And real quick, before we get started, if you get any value out of this video, I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to the Blog with Ben YouTube channel. It helps me bring you more resources, and it keeps you up to date with all the web and tech trends happening throughout the year. But either way, thank you so much for all your support. All right, with that being said, let's get started. Before we go through the process of using the WP Rocket plugin, I want to quickly go over some of the key features that I think are important to WordPress site owners. You have a ton of choices when it comes to caching plugins for WordPress, so in this part of the tutorial, I'd like to share with you some of the reasons why I personally use the plugin on my blog and why I think you should too. I should also point out that all of the key benefits and features of the WP Rocket plugin are designed to address Google's PageSpeed Insights audits. And due to that, you're going to see improved performance scores, faster load times, SEO benefits, better user experience, and simplified optimization, making it easy to implement complex performance optimizations without needing in-depth technical knowledge or know-how. And by addressing PageSpeed Insights audits, WP Rocket ensures that your website performs optimally, benefiting both users and search engine rankings. Also, if you're already familiar with WP Rocket and you just want to see how to implement it and configure it on your WordPress site, feel free to skip ahead by using the clickable timestamps in the video description below. But like I said, I want to quickly go over some of the main features and benefits that I think are important to WordPress site owners. And I'm going to try and keep it high level to spare you from me spouting off technical jargon, but I just want to show you how beneficial this plugin is when it comes to optimizing your WordPress site's overall performance. So first things first, one great feature of this plugin is that it removes unused CSS. Most websites have excess code that's not necessary to render the page, and WP Rocket automatically collects all of the style sheets and scripts found on each page of your website to exclude unused CSS from the HTML. And this helps speed up your site immensely and contributes to improving key Lighthouse performance metrics. The next WP Rocket key feature is Load JavaScript Deferred. So all websites also have JavaScript code that slows down the rendering of your pages. And WP Rocket lets the browsers load the JavaScript resources only when the main content has been already downloaded and displayed so that the user can interact with the page without any issues. Simply put, the Load JavaScript Deferred feature eliminates rendered blocking resources, reduces the impact of third-party code, and minimizes main thread work, all improving your site's performance. Another great feature of the plugin is that it delays JavaScript execution. And since JavaScript files can hugely affect the page load time, it's important to load them only when the user interacts with the page, like scrolling or clicking on a button. WP Rocket delays the loading of JavaScript files until the user interacts with the site, reducing JavaScript execution time and again, minimizing main thread work. The next key feature is CSS and JavaScript minification. So what is minification? Well, minification, also known as minimization, is the process of removing all unnecessary characters from CSS and JavaScript source code without altering its functionality. Minification also reduces loading time and avoids enormous network payloads. Next, we have the lazy load feature. And this will load the images below the fold, meaning off screen, only after the critical resources above the fold have been fully loaded. And as a result, the page will load faster. Another super helpful feature set is the preloading of the cache, fonts, links, and the prefetch DNS requests. So preloading the cache and links will preload the homepage and links found on it immediately, improving the perceived load time. And then preloading the fonts improves performance by helping browsers discover fonts in CSS files. And then the prefetch DNS requests can make external files load faster, especially on mobile networks. Next, I want to quickly show you the plugin update changelog. So as of May 8th, 2024, the most up-to-date version of the WP Rocket plugin is 3.16, and one of the most impressive features from this update is the optimization of critical images. This automatically detects above-the-fold images and optimizes them. You used to have to manually tell the plugin what images were above the fold and painstakingly add each image file to the plugin in order for those images to be optimized. However, after this most recent update, that task is now automatically done for you. Then finally, one of the best features in my opinion is WP Rocket's support. And I'll link to this page in the video description below. But not only does WP Rocket have a great help doc library filled with step-by-step articles and video tutorials, but you can join their Facebook group and connect with other WP Rocket users around the world. Also, if you need some extra help, you can always contact their customer support and submit a help ticket. Their team is super knowledgeable and have always been there for me whenever I had a question or needed some help when I was brand new to using the plugin. Okay, so those are some of the main benefits and features of the WP Rocket plugin that I think are important to WordPress site owners, and hopefully you're starting to see those benefits as well. Next, let's quickly go over the WP Rocket pricing and plans. In this portion of the tutorial, I want to break down WP Rocket's pricing and plans to help you choose the best option for your needs. And first things first, if you haven't done so already, head over to WP Rocket's website. You could get there by visiting blogwithben.com/WP Rocket, and I'll put that link in the video description below. That is my affiliate link, just FYI, so if you make a purchase, I'll earn a commission, but by using that link, you're helping me keep my blog up and running, and you're helping me provide for my family. So thank you so much for all your support if you do end up making a purchase. I really appreciate it. Okay, so as you can see, there are 3 types of plans: the single, plus, and infinite. And the only real differences here between the plans are the price, obviously, and the number of websites you could use the plugin on. Other than that, all the plans have the same plugin features and benefits. And taking a closer look at the plans, the single plan is perfect if you're managing just one website. It costs $59 per year and includes all of the powerful features of WP Rocket. The Plus plan is ideal if you're running multiple websites but don't need unlimited access. And for $119 per year, you could use WP Rocket on up to 3 websites. This is great for freelancers or small agencies managing a few client sites. You get the same robust features across all 3 sites, ensuring top-notch performance for each one. And then finally, we have the Infinite plan, and this is the ultimate choice for those managing numerous websites. And at $299 per year, it provides you with unlimited site usage. This plan is perfect for large agencies or webmasters with a vast network of websites. You'll enjoy all of the benefits of WP Rocket's features across as many sites as you need, making it a cost-effective solution for large-scale operations. Then regardless of the plan that you choose, there's a 100% money-back guarantee if you request it within 14 days of your purchase. So you can essentially test the plugin out for 14 days, and then if you find that it's not for you, you can get your money back, just as long as you request the refund within 14 days of your purchase. But I don't think you'll need to worry about that because, as I said in the intro, I've been using WP Rocket on my WordPress blog since 2016. That's almost 10 years, and my blog is a huge part of my livelihood and how I provide for my family, so I'm not going to invest in a product like WP Rocket for 10 years and use it on my site if it isn't helping me be successful. And over those 10 years, I've been extremely satisfied with the features and benefits that come baked in with WP Rocket. As you can see, when you buy a WP Rocket license, you're getting a plethora of benefits that are backed by thousands of positive customer reviews. 4.8 out of 5 stars should hopefully put your mind at ease when it comes to investing in your site's performance. So whenever you're ready, choose the license that best fits your needs and click the Buy WP Rocket button. Next, you'll enter your email address, name, country or region, and company name if you have one. And then you'll enter your payment info here. You can pay by credit card or PayPal. And then once that's all filled out, click the Place Order button. And I've obviously already purchased my plugin, so I'm not going to purchase it again. However, after you do make a purchase, WP Rocket should send you an email with your account details. Now, this was my email from 2016, as you could see here. So yours will probably look different than mine, but this email included my login username, which is the email address that I used to sign up with, and then my password. So keep an eye out for this email from WP Rocket because it will contain your login credentials. Then anytime you need to log into your WP Rocket account, simply head over to their homepage and click the Sign In button located in the upper right corner of the screen. Next, it's pretty straightforward. Just enter your email address that you signed up with and then the password that WP Rocket gave you, and then click the Login button. And once logged in, this is what your WP Rocket account dashboard will look like. This is where you can manage your account as well as purchase add-ons like the Rocket CDN and Imagify, but most importantly, it's where you can download the plugin to use on your site. So without further ado, let's move on to installing the WP Rocket plugin on a WordPress website. In this portion of the tutorial, we're going to install and configure WP Rocket on this WordPress site so that we could then start optimizing its performance. Remember, a better performing site helps in so many areas like SEO, user experience, faster load time, and higher performance scores. And speaking of that, before we install the plugin on this site, I'm going to show you the performance score for this site before we install and configure the plugin. That way you could really see the benefits that WP Rocket brings to your site's overall performance. Okay, so I like to use Google's PageSpeed Insights when trying to gauge my site's performance. And I'll link to this in the video description below, but PageSpeed Insights is a tool that analyzes the performance of web pages on both mobile and desktop devices and provides detailed insights into various aspects of page speed and performance, highlighting areas that need improvement. And the tool assigns a score based on the page's performance along with specific recommendations to optimize loading times and enhance the overall user experience. And all you'll do here is enter your site's URL in the field provided and click the Analyze button. Then in a few moments you'll get your performance score, and this could take anywhere from a few seconds to a few minutes, but I'm going to fast forward really quick to save you some time. And first you'll be presented with the mobile performance score. And as you can see, this current site has a performance score of 53. That's pretty bad. Then if we head over to the desktop score, you'll see that it's a little better at 79, but still not ideal. We want these scores to be green and in the 90s. So let's install the WP Rocket plugin and improve these scores. Okay, so back at the WP Rocket account dashboard, the first step is to download the plugin. And real quick before we do, I want to point out that you don't need to enter a license key in order to use the WP Rocket plugin. The validation of your license happens in the background whenever you activate the plugin. There's no need to copy and paste any API or license key. How cool is that? Okay, so to download the plugin, within the sidebar menu on the left-hand side of the screen, click the Download WP Rocket Plugin button. And this will automatically download the plugin zip file to your computer, and this is the file that you will then upload to your WordPress site. Next, let's head over to the WordPress site and log in to the WordPress dashboard. Just hover your mouse over the site title and click on Dashboard if you're not there already. Then navigate to Plugins on the left sidebar menu and click on Add New Plugin. Then since we're uploading a new plugin, click the Upload Plugin button. And then click the Choose File button and find and select the WP Rocket plugin file that we just downloaded. And there we go. Then click the Install Now button. And once the installation is complete, you'll be notified there in the upper left corner of the dashboard. So next, go ahead and click the Activate Plugin button. And it may take a few seconds to do its thing since this is the first time we are installing and activating it. And then once activated, you will get a notification letting you know that the plugin has been successfully activated on your site. Okay, next, let's go over how to configure the plugin so that you can get the most out of it to optimize your site and increase the performance as much as you can. So anytime you want to access the plugin settings, within your WordPress dashboard, hover your mouse over Settings and click on WP Rocket. Or at the top of the dashboard, there will be another WP Rocket menu item. Simply hover your mouse over that one and click on Settings from the drop-down, and either one of those will get you to your plugin settings dashboard that you're looking at right now. And this is where you could really drill down and configure specific settings to tailor the plugin to your unique needs. And real quick, when you first open the plugin, there may be some notifications towards the top. The first is pitching you the Rocket CDN. I'm not going to use it in this video, so I'll close that out. Next, WP Rocket is just notifying you that the preload cache service is working now that you've activated the plugin, so I'll close that one out. And then finally, WP Rocket is asking you if you want to allow them to collect diagnostic data from your site as you're using the plugin. So go ahead and allow or say no thanks by clicking either one of those buttons. Okay, so here we are in the WP Rocket settings dashboard. As you can see, WP Rocket has a clean and intuitive interface, making it easy to navigate even if you're new to caching plugins. On the left-hand side is the sidebar menu, allowing you to easily navigate through the different settings of the plugin, and then whatever menu item you have selected will show here towards the middle of the screen, giving you a clean and intuitive workspace to configure the settings. And since the 3.16 update, there have been some changes to this interface, so we're going to go through each one of these settings one by one and configure them so that you'll get a better idea of how you can implement WP Rocket on your WordPress site to enhance its performance. Okay, so first we have the dashboard. This is like home base for the settings, and it's where you can view your license. You could perform some quick actions like clearing and preloading the cache and clearing critical images. You could purchase a subscription to the Rocket CDN if you'd like. You can also change your Rocket Analytics status. I chose to allow them to track my anonymous data, but either way, you could turn those permissions on and off here. Then scrolling down, there are some great help docs and video tutorials if you should need some extra assistance with the plugin. These are great resources that I still use to this day, so I highly recommend checking them out whenever you have some extra time. Also, if you need to talk to an actual person, you could submit a help ticket to the WP Rocket technical support team here by clicking the Ask Support button, and one of their knowledgeable team members will assist you. Then before we move on to the other settings, I want to point out that by installing and activating the WP Rocket plugin, you're already speeding up your site. WP Rocket automatically applies 80% of web performance best practices and also enables options that provide immediate benefits to your site. So out of the box, you're getting a boost to your site's performance. However, one of the many benefits that sets WP Rocket apart from the competitors is the ability to really drill down and configure the optimization settings. So with that being said, let's move on and go through these settings one by one, starting with the file optimization. And to access it, simply click on that tab within the settings sidebar. And you'll see that WP Rocket has separated this into two sections: CSS files and JavaScript files, each one giving you the ability to configure how the files are essentially used on your site to enhance its performance. So, starting with the CSS. The first option is to minify CSS files. This reduces the size of your CSS files by removing unnecessary spaces and comments. This can help speed up your site's load times. Below that is the optimized CSS delivery. This merges multiple CSS files into one, reducing the number of HTTP requests. Now please keep in mind that this may cause issues with some themes or plugins, so be sure to test your site thoroughly after enabling this. Alright, moving on to the JavaScript files. First we have minified JavaScript files. This too reduces the size of your JavaScript files by removing unnecessary spaces and comments. Then if you do enable the minified JavaScript files feature, you'll have the ability to also combine JavaScript files. Now keep in mind that this isn't recommended if your site uses HTTP2, and you can check to see if your site does use that by clicking this More Info link. Next is Load JavaScript Deferred. This basically defers the loading of JavaScript files until after the page is loaded, improving initial load times. Finally is Delayed JavaScript Execution, and this delays the execution of scripts to prioritize the rendering of the site. only loading JavaScript files until a user interacts with them. Again, if you're brand new to all of this, I know it may go in one ear and out the other, but you can get a lot of great info by accessing WP Rocket's help docs. Their step-by-step articles and video tutorials are really helpful if you're a novice when it comes to this technical jargon. Okay, so for this particular example, for my CSS files, I'm going to enable the Minify CSS files feature, so I'll check that box. And you may get this notice warning you that things may break, so just test as you go, and if anything does break, you could always come back and disable this feature. However, I've already tested these, so I'll activate this feature by clicking the Activate button. Then once enabled, you'll have the ability to exclude CSS files from minification by entering the URLs of the CSS files that you want to exclude in the text box below. Next, I'll enable the optimized CSS delivery as well. And again, you may get a notice warning you that things may break. It didn't pop up this time, but just keep an eye out for that. Also, you have two options here for how to optimize CSS delivery, but you can only choose one of them. And the options are to remove unused CSS or to load CSS asynchronously. Removing unused CSS reduces the size of the CSS file by eliminating unnecessary rules, whereas loading CSS asynchronously changes the way CSS is loaded to improve rendering speed. WP Rocket states that the removal of unused CSS is the recommended method of optimizing your CSS, and it's selected by default, but if you have trouble with this option, check the status page or try the Load CSS Asynchronously option instead. Okay, there's also a CSS Safe List option. Just specify the CSS file names in this text box that you don't want the plugin to remove. Moving on to the JavaScript files section. So I'm going to enable the Minify JavaScript files, so I'll check that box. Again, you get this notice, so I'll click the Activate button to enable this feature. Then the Combine JavaScript Files feature becomes available to turn on. Remember, if your site uses HTTP2, then don't use this, and you could test your site by clicking the More Info link. Next, I will enable the Load JavaScript Deferred feature. And when you check that box, you have the ability to exclude JavaScript files from Defer. Click the More Info if you want more clarification on this, but I'm just leaving everything as is. Then finally, I'll turn on the Delay JavaScript Execution. Remember, this delays the execution of scripts to prioritize the rendering of the site, only loading JavaScript files until a user interacts with them. And when you turn it on, you have the ability to choose to exclude various aspects of your site from delaying JavaScript execution like ads and plugins. So if you need instant visibility for any of these things listed here, go ahead and check the boxes so that the user experience won't be interrupted. All right, so that's going to do it for these settings. So once you're done, click the Save Changes button. And in a few moments, you'll get a notification that the settings have been saved, as well as a countdown for the plugin removing the unused CSS. It takes a few seconds to process, but you can keep working while it does its thing. Okay, moving on to the Media section. So go ahead and click the Media tab. And this is where you could further enhance your site's performance by configuring the lazy load and image dimensions. And if you're new to lazy loading, it's basically a technique that delays the loading of non-critical resources such as images and videos until they are actually needed, usually when they come into the user's viewport. And this improves initial page load times and reduces the amount of data that the browsers need to fetch immediately, enhancing the overall user experience and conserving bandwidth. And by implementing lazy loading, your website can load faster and perform more efficiently, particularly on mobile devices and slower internet connections. And WP Rocket gives you the ability to configure lazy loading for images, CSS background images, and iframes for videos. And for this example, I'm enabling all three of these features, so I'll check those boxes. Then when you enable lazy load for iframes, you'll have the option to replace YouTube iframes with a preview image. I'm turning this on, so I'll check that box as well, but this improves loading time since I have quite a few YouTube videos embedded on my site. Below that, you have the ability to exclude images or iframes from lazy loading by entering their file names here. I'm not adding any to this list, but if you need some clarification on this, just click the More Info link and check out WP Rocket's articles on the topic. Okay, finally we have image dimensions, and this feature automatically adds width and height attributes to your image tags. This helps prevent layout shifts during page load and improves the performance score on Google's PageSpeed Insights, so I'm definitely turning this on, so I'll check that box. And then once you've made all of your media configurations, go ahead and click the Save Changes button. And there we go. You'll get some notifications letting you know that the settings have been saved and that the LCP element has been optimized. All good news. Okay, let's keep going. Moving on to the next setting, which is preload. So go ahead and click on the Preload tab. And first we have the Preload Cache feature. This generates the cache for your site's homepage and all its linked pages, ensuring that these pages are ready to load quickly for your visitors. I highly recommend keeping this box checked. Next we have Preload Links. This prefetches URLs when a user hovers over a link, making the next page load faster by fetching it in advance. So I also recommend turning this on as well. Next is Prefetch DNS Request. This allows the browsers to perform DNS lookups in advance for external resources, reducing the time needed to establish a connection when those resources are requested. So if you know that you have a DNS that hosts JavaScript files or other databases, you can add them here in this box. However, most websites don't do this, so more than likely you won't need to worry about this. Finally is the Preload Fonts feature. And this allows the browser to fetch and load fonts more quickly, improving text rendering performance and reducing the time to first paint. So if you've uploaded different font files to use on your site, like an actual Adobe font file, then I recommend adding that file name here in the box provided so that the plugin can preload them and save you some loading time. Okay, so that's going to do it for the preload features. Once you're done making your configurations, go ahead and click the Save Changes button. All right, moving on to the advanced rules. So go ahead and click on that tab in the sidebar. And this section contains settings for specifying exclusions and special rules that affect caching behavior. First is cache lifespan. This will set the maximum age a cached page can be. The default value for cache lifespan is 10 hours. This is chosen to avoid any issues with WordPress on your pages. In some cases, you can set a longer cache lifespan because WP Rocket will automatically clear the cache when content is updated. This would be safe in cases where most of your site's pages are not using nonces or there isn't content globally present on many pages that would need to be refreshed. Now, I know I just threw a lot at you right there, but if you're unsure about this, using the default value 10 is recommended. And you could switch to hours or days by clicking on that hours button. Below that, we have the Never Cache URLs feature. This is where you can exclude specific pages from being cached by entering the URLs or parts of the URLs that you want to exclude from the caching in that text box. Now, please keep in mind that by excluding a page from cache, you're also excluding it from all other optimizations. Also, WP Rocket automatically excludes cart and checkout pages for certain e-commerce plugins. But if you want to exclude your WordPress login page or other sensitive pages from the cache, go ahead and specify the URLs in that text box. Below that is the Never Cache Cookies feature. This option will prevent caching and optimization based on the presence of the specified cookie. The Never Cache Cookies option in the WP Rocket is often used when items in the cart are updated with PHP code. And to prevent incorrectly displaying the number of prices on the items, it is possible to exclude the pages from caching when an item is added to a cart, i.e. a cookie is set by an e-commerce plugin or widget. Again, if you're new to this, I know I threw a lot at you, but more than likely you won't need to worry about this. But if you are running an online store and you're noticing issues with the cache, you may want to explore this feature in greater detail by clicking the Need Help link. WP Rocket has some great step-by-step articles to get you by. Next is the Never Cache User Agents. This option is used to prevent cached and optimized pages from being served on certain devices and in certain browsers. The user agent request header is a string that lets servers identify the operating system, vendor, and/or version of the browser that's accessing a page. You can exclude certain user agents from being served cache by adding the string value in the never cache user agents text area. Next is the always purge URLs feature. This is where you can specify URLs that you always want purged from the cache whenever you update a post or page. When a post or page is updated, the cache will be partially cleared, i.e. cache will be cleared only for that post or page and its related content, like a taxonomy or the archives. If you find that the related content is not updated on some other pages, like a page that lists your blog posts, you can use the Always Purge URLs feature and add that URL in the text box. For example, if I want to always purge my blog feed, I would just add everything that comes after the trailing slash of my blog. So I'd just add /blog followed by a trailing slash in that text box. Finally, there's cache query strings, and this enables you to force caching by specific GET parameters. WP Rocket does not cache pages with query strings by default, although there are some very specific exceptions. WP Rocket has a great article on this feature that you could check out here by clicking this link, and it breaks down some scenarios where this advanced feature may come in handy. Like in this example, the query string contains the word country, which is the parameter, and then Italy, which is the value. If you want these pages to be cached, just enter the parameter in the cache query strings box like so. Alright, so that's it for the advanced rules. So if you made any changes here, don't forget to click the Save Changes button. And moving on to the Database tab. So WP Rocket's database settings help optimize your WordPress database by removing unnecessary data and improving performance. These settings include options to clean up post revisions, auto drafts, trashed posts, spam and trash comments, and expired or all transients. Additionally, they provide the ability to optimize database tables and schedule automatic cleanups at regular intervals like daily, weekly, or monthly. But one thing to keep in mind is that if you plan on enabling any of these cleanups, it's recommended that you back up your database because once a database optimization has been performed, there's no way to undo it. So back up your database first if you plan to implement any of these settings. And I've already made a backup of my database, so let's take a closer look at these particular settings really quick. First, we have post cleanup. This is where you can tell the plugin to permanently delete various revisions or drafts of your pages. However, this isn't recommended if you need to retain any revisions or drafts of your content. But either way, I'm going to clean up my trashed posts because when I typically trash a post, it's because I definitely don't need it anymore. Next is comments cleanup, and this permanently deletes comments marked as spam or trashed comments. So I'm going to implement both of those settings. Next, we have transients cleanup, and transients are a part of the WordPress codebase that developers use to store cached data. They can negatively impact site performance if not deleted. So I'm going to check this box to enable that cleanup. Next is database cleanup, and this lets you reduce overhead of database tables. This is like reorganizing everything in your office so that it's neat and easy to find. It uses a special tool, the optimized table statement, to tidy up the database, making it run better. And I have 0 tables in my database, so I don't need to enable this, but if you have a ton of tables here, you may want to think about enabling this feature. Finally, we have the automatic cleanup, and this just lets you schedule automatic cleanups of your database. You could set the frequency to daily, weekly, or monthly if needed. Okay, so that's it for the database optimization. So go ahead and click the Save Changes and Optimize button. And there we go. Moving on to CDN. So go ahead and open the CDN tab. And if you don't have a CDN, I highly recommend the Rocket CDN. It's only $7.99 per month. And if you have web traffic from all over the world, this will help speed up your site immensely. And the Rocket CDN, which is a content delivery network, that's what CDN stands for. This is offered by WP Rocket, and it works by distributing your website's static files like images, CSS, and JavaScript across a network of servers located around the world. And when a visitor accesses your site, Rocket CDN delivers these static files from the server closest to their location, reducing loading times and improving site performance. So if you don't have a CDN, highly recommend the Rocket CDN. However, if you already have a CDN, you can add it here. Just check the box to enable Content Delivery Network and specify the CDN CNAME records in the field provided. Please note that if you are using Cloudflare or Sucuri as your CDN, you won't need to enable it here. You can do so in the add-ons section, which we'll cover in just a few minutes. Okay, moving on to the heartbeat settings. So go ahead and open that tab. And WP Rocket's heartbeat settings help you control the WordPress Heartbeat API, which is responsible for real-time communication between the server and the browser. This API is used for tasks like auto-saving posts and showing real-time notifications within your WordPress dashboard. While useful, the Heartbeat API can consume server resources, potentially slowing down your site. And WP Rocket allows you to manage its activity to optimize performance here in the Heartbeat settings. So I'm leaving the control heartbeat feature enabled. And then below that, I'm leaving the reduce activity set for backend, front end, and post editor behavior. You can change the activity by clicking on any of those reduce activity buttons, and it allows you to change it to do not limit, reduce activity, or disable. Again, I'm leaving everything as is here, but don't forget to click the Save Changes button if you made any changes. Okay, next we have the add-ons. So these are features extending available options without having to make any configurations. All you'll do here is just switch the option on to enable it from this screen. And going through each one, first we have user cache. When this is activated, WP Rocket creates a dedicated set of cache files for each logged in WordPress user. Logged in user cache is useful when you have a membership site or when users must log in to see content. Next is the varnish add-on, and turning this on will purge the varnish cache each time WP Rocket clears its cache. This ensures that content is always up to date, but please keep in mind that if your site is hosted on WP Engine, Flywheel, Cloudways, or WPX, WP Rocket will automatically detect the environment and enable the varnish add-on for you. Also on SiteGround, Kinsta, and Pressable, you don't need to enable the varnish add-on because they already sync WP Rocket's cache with their server cache. On other hosting environments, if you know that your server uses varnish, switch add-on status to on by flipping this switch. That way, WP Rocket will make sure the varnish cache is purged whenever the WP Rocket cache is purged as well. The next add-on is WebP compatibility, and this refers to the plugin's ability to serve images in the WebP format, which is a modern image format developed by Google. WebP provides superior compression compared to traditional formats like JPEG or PNG, resulting in smaller file sizes without compressing image quality. This can significantly speed up your website's loading times. Now, one thing I should point out here is that I haven't connected the Imagify plugin yet with the API key, but when I do, I'll come back here and enable the WebP compatibility feature. So if you plan on using the Imagify plugin, then I recommend enabling the WP compatibility add-on after you do that. Then finally, we have the Cloudflare and Sucuri add-ons. Again, if you're using either one of these, I recommend turning them on here. There will be some additional modification settings you'll need to go through, but WP Rocket has some great tutorials on them if you need some extra help setting them up. Okay, that's going to do it for the add-ons. Moving on to the image optimization tab. So this is a free image optimization plugin developed by the creators of WP Rocket that helps improve your website's performance by compressing and optimizing images without sacrificing quality. And I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. Imagify, I don't know, Imagify. Either way, if you're not using an image compressor, I recommend giving this a shot. It's super easy to set up. Just click the install button there. And you should get this little visual step-by-step guide towards the top of the screen that'll walk you through the setup process. Now, for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through it in this tutorial, but you'll just click that button in the first step to create your account. They'll then send you an email with your API key, and you'll enter that API key in the plugin settings, and it'll connect and you'll be able to compress your images among many other things. And this will help improve your site's performance. Also, whenever you're done setting this plugin up, don't forget to go back to the add-ons and enable the WebP compatibility feature. Also, this is a great real-world example of what happens with the WP Rocket plugin when you add a new plugin to your site. You'll get this notification giving you the ability to manually clear the cache. Just click that button and the cache will be cleared. And you'll see this every time you enable or disable a plugin on your site. Okay, moving on to the Tools tab. So this provides essential utilities for managing and maintaining the plugin's settings and functionalities, starting with the ability to export settings. This option allows you to export your current WP Rocket settings to a file. This is useful for backing up your settings or applying the same configuration to another website. Next is import settings. You can import previously exported WP Rocket settings from a file. This helps quickly replicate settings across multiple websites without having to configure each one manually. Next is rollback. If you ever encounter issues with a new version of WP Rocket, this option lets you roll back to a previous stable version. It's a safety feature to ensure your website remains stable and functional. Finally is the update inclusion and exclusions lists. Compatibility lists are downloaded automatically every week, but if you want to update them manually, just click that Update Lists button. Okay, the last tab in the settings is the Tutorials tab. And this is one of my favorites because if you ever get stuck or you need some extra help, WP Rocket has some great step-by-step video tutorials to help you troubleshoot and figure things out. I use these quite a bit, and whenever you have some extra time, I highly recommend checking them out. But these tutorials are a great resource whether you're brand new to WP Rocket or a seasoned pro. There's a lot of great information here. Okay, so that's going to do it for the configuration of the WP Rocket plugin. Hopefully you're starting to get a better understanding of how you can use the plugin to optimize your site. And with that being said, let me quickly show you how to clear and preload the cache and clear the used CSS. So clearing and preloading the cache in WP Rocket are actions taken to ensure that your website delivers the most current and optimized content to your visitors. So if you publish a blog post and you want to make sure that people see it right away, it may make sense for you to clear and preload the cache. And you have a few ways to go about doing this. First, within your WP Rocket settings dashboard, under the Quick Actions section, simply click the Clear and Preload Cache button, and that will obviously clear and preload the cache. Next, at the top of your WordPress dashboard, if you hover your mouse over where it says WP Rocket, you'll get a little drop-down menu, and all you'll do there is click the Clear and Preload Cache option. Same goes for removing used CSS. From that menu, just select Clear Used CSS. Or, in the WP Rocket settings, under the Quick Actions, just click the Clear Used CSS button. Also, when you do, you'll get a notification within your dashboard letting you know what action has been taken. Alright, now that the plugin has been properly configured, let's retest the performance with Google's PageSpeed Insights. Okay, now that the WP Rocket plugin has been properly configured and my site is now optimized, let's have Google reanalyze it to see if the performance score has improved. Remember, when I initially ran this audit, Google told me that my mobile performance score was 53 and my desktop performance score was 79. But now that we have the WP Rocket plugin configured and working on my site, let's see what the performance score is now. And check that out. Wow, we now have a mobile score of 98. And then when we check the desktop, the performance score is 100. How cool is that? Now, you're probably noticing that my accessibility score is an 83. Please know that this isn't due to the plugin. This is due to the fact that I'm using a demo WordPress site for this video and my buttons and links aren't properly set up. So when Google runs this audit, they see all of my links and buttons that don't go anywhere and think I'm serving a bad experience. So please know that if I was using a quote-unquote real site for this video, then this accessibility score would be in the green and all scores would be in the high 90s and 100s. But either way, WP Rocket has improved my site's performance immensely, and hopefully this tutorial gave you a clear understanding of how you can implement WP Rocket on your WordPress site to help enhance its performance as well. Okay, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks so much for following along. Like I said, hopefully you got a solid understanding of how to configure and optimize your WordPress site by using WP Rocket's powerful features. Whether it's speeding up your site with advanced caching techniques, optimizing your database, or ensuring your content is served through a CDN, WP Rocket has got you covered. So if you're serious about boosting your site's speed and performance, WP Rocket is an investment well worth making. So that's going to do it for this video. If you found it helpful, I'd greatly appreciate it if you would like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Blog with Ben YouTube channel. Also, if you're thinking about starting a blog, you got to check out my step-by-step tutorials. They'll show you everything you need to know in order to build, grow, and monetize a professional WordPress blog. And as always, your support means a great deal to me and my family, and for that, I thank you. So with that being said, I'll see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.